Rosanna and I just arrived at the house in Florida, and all of a sudden, Rosanna had a panic attack. It got to the point where I was like, we need to get the ambulance out here.
Rosanna Miller, who became famous on TLC's Return to Amish, left the Amish community to find herself. What, precisely, was she abandoning, though? Strict traditions and unyielding discipline have guided the lives of the Amish for generations. At this point, we will reveal more. Come explore Amish wedding nights with us as we reveal the seldom-spoken secrets of Amish life. For the Amish, the wedding night is about more than just following tradition. It's also about the practical. The bride's parents' house is usually the most convenient place for the couple to stay during an Amish wedding because of all the guests. So they can lend a hand with the post-wedding cleanup and preparations for the reception the following day. The Amish wedding night is still a special time for the couple, even though it may not be as intimate as modern wedding nights. It gives them a chance to think about the promise they made to each other and the significance of their wedding vows. It's a time to rejoice in the newlyweds' union while also bringing loved ones together to celebrate. Keep in mind that Amish communities are very diverse, and with that diversity comes a wide range of wedding night traditions. Couples' levels of privacy may vary according to cultural norms and the living arrangements of their families. However, faith, simplicity, and community are the guiding principles. Wedding night customs among the Amish provide light on a faith-based, communal, and simple culture. Amish couples sign their union in a more understated but meaningful way, in contrast to contemporary weddings that frequently emphasize ostentation and passion. Similarly, the Banyankole tribe's marriage traditions provide a unique perspective on marital traditions, while showcasing strong cultural values and community ties. Amish newlyweds often spend their first night as a married couple at the house of the bride's parents, in contrast to the typical honeymoons that take couples to fancy places. The tight-knit Amish community is shown by this practice. Many of the happy couple's loved ones stay up late to help with the party's cleanup and continuation. The wedding night is just as uncomplicated as the rest of the Amish wedding. There aren't any elaborate rituals, champagne toasts, or expensive decorations. All eyes are on the newlyweds as they commit to each other and their future together. Having a private room on their wedding night is not uncommon for Amish newlyweds, which may seem strange to some modern couples. They often have other relatives or visitors stay in the same room as them. By continuing this tradition, we are teaching future generations that marriage is about more than just the couple. In most cases, the reception continues with even more revelry and good times the next day. A large breakfast or brunch is a common gathering place for guests, who may also enjoy additional games, singing, or other forms of entertainment. It is expected that the couple will participate in these events, which will help them become more integrated into the community. A new chapter begins for the couple on the night of their Amish wedding. Married life's responsibilities, such as starting a family and giving back to the community, are now expected of them. This is still a huge deal for them, even though the transformation isn't as dramatic as it is for other civilizations. While the traditions observed by Amish on the night of the wedding may seem peculiar to those from outside the community, they offer a unique perspective on marriage and community. Outsiders still don't fully understand the Amish culture, even when it comes to weddings. According to the Ordnung, literally rules, the Amish live their lives differently from one community to another, and even within the same community itself. The Amish are not all subject to the same government. Because everyone has the freedom to make their own decisions, what is considered acceptable in one society may be considered unacceptable in another. Before the twice-yearly communion, all baptized members of the community establish or amend the Ordnung. In Standard German, the meeting where the Ordnung is discussed is called the Ordnungsgemeine, and in Pennsylvania Dutch, it is called the Ordningsgeme. Some of the many subjects addressed in the Ordnung include proper attire, the appropriate use of technology, religious duties, and social interactions with non-natives. Curiously, women can also vote on issues pertaining to the Ordnung and have a voice in these discussions. Priorities for Amish families revolve around having and raising children, as well as maintaining relationships with extended family and neighbors. For the most part, they consider big families to be a divine blessing. Having more children is common in farming families because sons are more useful in the fields. The importance of community is paramount in the Amish way of life. Some new technologies are seen negatively because they reduce the need for hard labor, while hard work is viewed as a virtue. For instance, automated barn cleaners and similar machines have frequently been rejected on the grounds that they provide young farm laborers with an excessive amount of leisure time. Because of their belief in the merits of a more leisurely pace of life, Amish communities are well known for their use of horse and buggy transportation. On the other hand, several Amish villages do not forbid the use of motor vehicles. Trains are another option. As an alternative to walking or preparing a horse and buggy, electric bicycles have recently gained popularity among Amish. The Amish are easily identifiable by their modest attire. As a group, men tend to dress similarly, with solid-colored shirts, wide-brimmed hats, and suits. Beards symbolize manhood, marital status, and humility among Amish men. They hold pacifist views and are thus forbidden from growing mustaches because of the association with the military. According to the Ordnung, women are expected to adhere to similar dress codes. Aprons and bonnets are part of their uniform, which also includes calf-length dresses in subdued hues. Every woman wears a prayer cap or bonnet as a symbol of her faith and to bring the women closer together. Hats are a visual representation of a woman's marital status. Those who are single wear black bonnets, and those who are married wear white. Because women are frowned upon for displaying their pride through the wearing of jewelry, such as wedding bands, this color difference is crucial. Whether an individual is an Amish from the New Order or the Old Order determines the majority of the fastening methods used on their handmade garments. The Old Order Amish favor the hook-and-eye technique or metal snaps for fastening their garments, as they view buttons as excessively showy. However, among the New Order Amish, it is acceptable to accessorize with buttons. The traditional and uncomplicated character of Amish cuisine has made it famous. Potlucks, weddings, fundraisers, farewells, and other events all revolve on food, which plays a big role in Amish social life. You can find a wide variety of Amish foods at markets, including bread mixes, pies, preserves, pickled items, desserts, and canned goods. Also, you can find restaurants that are open to visitors in a number of Amish communities. Although Amish tend to eat more preserved meats, their meat consumption is comparable to the average American. The Pennsylvania Dutch and Amish cuisine are sometimes mistaken for one another. However, there are important anthropological and geographical distinctions between the two, and there is also significant diversity in the emphasis placed on traditional culinary traditions and the interwoven religious culture of the Amish by cookbook writers and food historians. Research from literary sources, such as newspapers, diaries, and household records, is supplemented with specialized anthropological field studies to disentangle culinary myths from actual culinary practices. Certain conditions, like dwarfism, Angelman syndrome, and metabolic disorders, are more common in Amish communities. Amish people also have a unique distribution of blood types. Different demes, or genetically distinct groupings, make up the Amish. There is no statistically significant difference between the Amish and the general population with regard to the prevalence of hereditary disorders. However, due to the founder effect, which affects nearly every Amish person, certain recessive conditions tend to be more prevalent. Amish children are at increased risk of death due to a number of rare and unique disorders. Although Amish members are aware of the advantages of marrying outside their communities, they continue to limit marriages within their own groups due to religious concerns. The majority of Amish consider these things to be Gottes Wille, God's will. They are opposed to premarital genetic testing and prenatal genetic screening for genetic diseases. The community embraces children with disabilities and assigns them manageable tasks when they are born, but the Amish are willing to take part in studies about hereditary illnesses, neurodegenerative diseases, age-related macular degeneration, and Alzheimer's disease. Researchers benefit greatly from their extensive family histories. The Amish may be more likely to suffer from some hereditary diseases, but research suggests that their austere way of life may really be beneficial to their health. As a whole, the Amish have a lower cancer rate than the general population. Among Amish adults, 37% get cancers linked to tobacco use, while 72% get cancers unrelated to tobacco use. Despite spending a lot of time outside in the elements, the Amish actually have a lower rate of skin cancer. Wearing long sleeves and wide-brimmed hats is a common way they protect themselves. Strasburg, Pennsylvania's Clinic for Special Children, specializes in treating genetic disorders. They've developed effective treatments for diseases like maple syrup urine disease, which was previously fatal. Because the majority of Amish families are in favor of the clinic, Amish parents can take their children to a doctor without fear of social exclusion. Children with metabolic or inherited disorders are the primary focus of another Middlefield, Ohio facility, the DDC Clinic for Special Needs Children. Both Amish and non-Amish families can access treatment, research, and educational opportunities at the DDC Clinic. In order to aid families dealing with mental health issues and to recommend professional counselors, the Amish established People's Helpers, a network of mental health carers. The Amish have a rate of self-harm that is around half of the national average. Old Order Amish people often do not use any kind of commercial health insurance. In the mid-1990s, a handful of American hospitals started Amish-specific outreach programs to help those in need. When members of the Amish community need assistance paying for medical bills, the church takes up a collection. In spite of popular belief to the contrary, Amish communities do make use of contemporary medicine, including hospital births and cutting-edge treatments. For non-emergency medical care and surgeries, many Amish individuals travel to Mexico to save money because they do not have health insurance and pay for services up front. Amish families tend to have a large number of children, not because they don't know how to control their fertility, but because it's practical for farming communities and their beliefs. Even though it's not often brought up, comparing the birth rates of different Amish communities reveals that some of them use some kind of family planning. Family sizes are positively correlated with the level of conservatism within a congregation. Generally speaking, conservative groups tend to have larger families. Birth control is available to women in some communities who are at risk for complications during childbirth. Contrary to popular belief, the Amish do not support abortion and also disapprove of stem cell research, artificial insemination, genetic engineering, and eugenics. The Amish have felt the effects of modernity's demands over the years. They encounter prejudice and bigotry on occasion, in addition to difficulties in areas such as education, taxation, and law enforcement. More and more, contemporary culture has moved away from the Amish way of life. Because of this, there have been cases of prejudice and antagonism from nearby residents who have thrown stones and other objects at Amish horse-drawn carriages on occasion. The Amish typically stop sending their children to school after the 8th grade because they feel that the education they have received up to that point adequately prepares them for life as Amish. Few Amish go to college or even high school. The Amish often use young, single women from the Amish community to teach in their one-room schoolhouses. Aidan Yutzi of the conservative Amish Mennonite Church, together with Jonas Yoder and Wallace Miller of the Old Order Amish, were fined $5 apiece on May 19, 1972, for refusing to send their children, who were 14 and 15 years old, to high school. Both the Wisconsin Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court reversed the conviction in the 1972 case, Wisconsin versus Yoder. The decision was upheld by the Supreme Court, which determined that the benefits of universal education did not outweigh the First Amendment's protections against free speech. Property and sales taxes apply to the Amish. They rarely buy petrol or pay registration fees because they don't own cars very often. Social Security benefits and insurance are two things that the Amish typically disagree with due to their religious beliefs. The decision to exempt them from paying Social Security taxes was made official in 1965, after the Internal Revenue Service had already agreed upon it in 1961. Some religious groups' members who work for themselves are exempt from both paying into and receiving benefits from Social Security. If a religious organization has been around continuously since December 31st, has a reasonable standard of living for its dependents, and is morally opposed to accepting private or public insurance, then they qualify for this exemption. Back in 1982, the Amish are not free from paying taxes. The exemption only applies to Amish who work for themselves, as the Supreme Court made clear. Gelassenheit, which can be translated as submission or letting be, and Hochmut, which means pride, arrogance, or haughtiness, are two key concepts in Amish customs. Gelassenheit can also mean a reluctance to be assertive or self-promoting. The Amish place a high value on Demut, humility, and the concept of calmness. The individualism admired in mainstream American culture stands in stark contrast to the Amish's preparedness to conform to the will of Jesus, demonstrated through communal norms. The Amish reject labor-saving technology that could reduce their dependence on the community because of their anti-individualist attitude. Competition for status symbols may increase as a result of technological developments like electricity, and photographs may promote individual vanity. It goes against the advice in Romans 12:2 to not be conformed to the world if power lines are used. Most Amish people are baptized between the ages of 16 and 23 when they first join the church. In order to tie the knot within the community, one must be baptized. 20 to 40 families make up each district, and they gather for worship every other Sunday in someone's home or barn. Bishops, ministers, and deacons are chosen by a combination of voting and cleromancy, lotting, who then oversee the district. Every member of the ordning reviews it twice a year, and it differs from district to district. In order to celebrate the Lord's Supper, all members must consent. Disobedient members face the possibility of being excluded from the group and even shunned. Nearly 85% of Amish youths make the decision to get baptized. Some things that would cause shunning after baptism might be tolerated to a certain degree during Rumspringa, running around. In Season 6 of Return to Amish, 2021, Rosanna Miller made her debut. Her parents were devoted to upholding community values and the old order Amish way of life, therefore she grew up in that environment. They thought Rosanna would do what they did. But being a part of her community hindered Rosanna's ambitions of succeeding independently. She made the conscious decision to live her life without prejudice or assumptions. Her involvement in the program reflected her desire for more freedom and exposure to other things. Rosanna left the community in large part because she wanted to live her life according to her own rules. To broaden her perspective beyond her upbringing in a sheltered environment, she traveled to Florida. She started dating Johnny, who is still Amish and isn't sure he wants to leave, despite her desire to start an English life. Johnny dated Rosanna after Season 6 wrapped filming. She made an appearance in Season 7, which premiered earlier this year. Their conflicting emotions regarding leaving the Amish lifestyle were central to their plot. Johnny ultimately chose to depart with Rosanna, and the two of them now lead a more contemporary lifestyle. Rosanna said that they intend to bring their daughter Clara up in the English environment, and they welcomed her into the world in March 2022. Although Rosanna and her husband no longer dress in traditional Amish garb, she maintained contact with her family in Pennsylvania. Because of Rosanna's pregnancy and the fact that they were intimate before marriage, both of which were seen as highly inappropriate by the Amish community, they faced strong criticism for their relationship. The Amish are a group of Christians who adhere to the old Anabaptist faith and have their origins in Alsace and Switzerland. Scholars classify the Amish as an ethno-religious group, combining ethnicity and denomination due to their shared beliefs and separation from society. They have tight ties to the conservative Mennonites and the Old Order Mennonites. Their goal is to be self-sufficient without sacrificing family time or face-to-face contact. So they are characterized by a lack of frills, plain clothing, Christian pacifism, and an unwillingness to adopt many modern technologies. A life in the country, working hard, being humble, and yielding to God's will are all highly prized by Amish. The Mennonites of Switzerland and Alsace, who were divided in 1693 and were led by Jacob Ammann, formed the Amish Church. The Amish were the people who followed Ammann. Divorce between the Old Order Amish and the Amish Mennonites occurred in the latter half of the 19th century. Cars are used by Amish Mennonites, but Old Order Amish stick to their traditional ways. Though other sects, such as the Beachy Amish and the New Order Amish, do exist, the term Amish today most commonly describes the Old Order Amish. They all adhere to the church's ordnung and dress simply. Both the Old Order and the New Order Amish utilize buggies, speak Pennsylvania Dutch, and hold services in German. Those who identify as Beachy Amish worship in the local tongue and are open to modern conveniences like automobiles. The new birth is central to the beliefs of the New Order and Beachy Amish, who also hold Sunday schools and seek to convert others. Religious liberty and plentiful land in Pennsylvania enticed numerous Mennonites and Amish to settle there in the early 17th century. Nearly 500 Amish people came to North America from Berks County, Pennsylvania in 1717 and settled in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania in 1750. Midway through the 19th century, another 1,500 Amish, frequently assimilationists, settled primarily in southern Ontario, Ohio, Illinois, and Iowa. Children are not enrolled in the Amish population count until they are baptized, which typically occurs at the age of 18 or older. The Amish population in North America increased by 84%, or 3.6% annually, between 1992 and 2008, with the founding of 184 new settlements and expansion into 6 new states. The United States was home to around 165,720 and Old Order Amish in 2000, with 73,016 attending a local church. With a total fertility rate of 5.3 in the 2000s and an average of 7 children per household in the 1970s, the Amish are among the fastest-growing populations internationally. Several faith communities like the Amish revised their reporting practices in 2010 to conform to the standards set by the Association of Statisticians of American Religious Bodies. About 241,000 people across 28 states in the U.S. identified as Amish in 2010, and that number includes all Amish, not just Old Order. After reaching 300,000 in 2015, the Amish saw a 9-year increase of 100,000 adherents, reaching 401,000 by 2024. Districts increased from 2,093 to 3,039 over this time, while settlements increased from 501 to 675, was 45%. More than 98% of the world's Amish reside in the United States, with a total population of 394,120 plus 4.6 to 6% from 2023. Old Order settlements may be found in 32 states as of June 2024. There are more Amish in Pennsylvania than in Ohio or Indiana combined. As of June 2024, the biggest communities can be found in the following counties: Lancaster County, Pennsylvania; Holmes County, Ohio; Elkhart and LaGrange counties, Indiana. With nearly half of the population being Amish, 2010, Holmes County boasts the highest concentration of Amish in the world. It would mean a lot to me if you could hit the like, subscribe, and play buttons if you like this video.